Hi, this is Jana Neville. I've got a presentation on some data from 2014 through 2017 from the program that I'm responsible for, the Secondary English Language Arts program here in the Washington County School District. Probably to start off, the important thing to remember is our district vision and mission, and that is to ensure high levels of learning for every student. And of course that sounds obvious, but we take great pains and we have many procedures and protocols in place to make certain that we're meeting the needs of every student in our district. Let's talk about standardized testing for just a second. Of course it's mandated by the state of Utah that we give a standardized test. Our test is the SAGE test, and it's an assessment of mastery of the Utah core standards. And I know that because I, with many other teachers, developed, revised, proficiency leveled, and standardized the questions based on the Utah core standards. The Utah core standards drives our instruction in our classrooms and is assessed at the end of the year. So it's important, but it's still just one measure of success. Our district demographics include 25 elementary schools and 27 secondary schools, split between intermediate, middle, and high school grades. We've got 32,000 total students, but 15,000 in the secondary, and of course 3,700 in online courses and adult education. 80% of our population is Caucasian, and we've got 34% in the secondary of free and reduced lunch students. Our district focus supports our mission and vision. We are continually improving our Tier 1 teaching in every classroom by focusing on the elements of the Consolidated School Improvement Plan. Our plan includes each team selecting their guaranteed and viable curriculum or the essential learning objectives they want to make certain that every one of their students knows, and then the learning targets that work up to that GVC. The common formative assessments they develop are based on the learning targets, and based on the data from the common formative assessments, we either intervene with students who haven't understood something as well as we'd like, or if they have, we move them forward and extend their learning. So here are the trends in intermediate schools that we can look at to kind of give us an idea of the past 3 or 4 years trends. Let's just take one of these schools here, for example. Most of our schools are going to look like this trend. They started somewhere, they either remained the same or they got a little better, but now they're down. They started at a great score, they moved up, and now they've gone down this year. There's a couple of schools that have gone up and stayed up, and that's great. And we want to know what those reasons are and what they've done. But in 6th grade and 7th grade here, you can see that they started somewhere, they went up. Oh, look, Kirk and Intermediate stayed up. Good for them. But most of these schools started somewhere, moved up, and now have gone down again. So that's been a trend a couple of places. Let's look at the middle school. We'll find the same exact trend. Here we were, we struggled, we got better, and now we're back down. So here we were, we struggled, we got a little better, we struggled, and we're still lower than we were before, which is amazing because we've done so much work. Let's look over here in 9th grade and see if we can find some of these same trends. Here we were, we went up, and now we're back down. So let's look at the high school and see if that's the same. Here we were at this great score, we went up a little bit, more, but now we're down. So in my experience, this is what I found mostly with most of our schools. There's no scores here in 11th grade because now we're giving the ACT test in 11th grade. So we've got to ask ourselves some questions. Why are school scores down in almost every school? Is it because of the legislative changes that were made? We used to be able to use our SAGE scores as a percentage of our final score in the 4th quarter. But legally, we cannot use those scores for grades at all. And also, those scores cannot be used to score or evaluate teachers. So that's no longer that's a problem, that we can't use those scores in grades anymore. What about students who opt out? Well, every district in the state has students who opt out. So can we use that as an excuse, or can we just call that a wash? I thought we made changes in our Tier 1 teaching. I know that we've got the data from 2 or 3 years of using our CSIP carefully to prove that we were making Tier 1 teaching changes. So that's confusing. Is it about student apathy? Are students more apathetic in St. George than they are in other places in the state of Utah? I mean, that can't be true. So what I have noticed is that students take their cues from teachers. If the teacher cares a lot about the test and knows how to motivate their students to do well on the test, those students do better. They care about it. If teachers don't care about the test, or if teachers are angry about the test, all of these things reflect onto their students, and their students perform that way. So how much do we care? That's what we need to ask ourselves. My next steps, and our next steps for everybody here at the district, is to stick with our vision and mission, which is to ensure high levels of learning for every student. Continue to focus on good Tier 1 teaching by continuing to focus on the elements of the CSIP. This is all we can do. And we're going to get a little tighter and a little more focused on that, but hopefully it will turn into increased scores in the future. Thanks for listening to my presentation. Appreciate it, and thank you.